What's up, guys? Today we're looking at 3 more puzzles that you guys sent in. Actually, there was quite a few more than 3, but I decided to narrow it down to my 3 favorites, which I'm going to show you right now. It's white to play and win. If you'd like to pause and think through the solution, and then we'll talk about how to do it. All right, guys, so this position was from Remington. Thank you, Remington, for sending this in. It's an interesting position in that black is about to be stalemated. So currently, none of black's pawns can move. The king cannot move. And so if you play like a sort of logical move of trying to just bring your king up, it's a stalemate, right? And the game is over. So we have to play either f3 or f4. And actually, this move doesn't really matter because regardless of what we play, black is going to capture us. En passant is going to be like this, right? So first move, okay, we get captured. And again, we have kind of the same problem if we play king to f2. It's a stalemate. Black has no moves. So what do we need to do instead? We actually have to play king to f1. And this is kind of the start of an idea that we're going to keep repeating throughout this puzzle. And the point is that we sacrifice a pawn, we slide our king over to give black a move, and then we sacrifice the next pawn once we can safely capture this pawn. And so you can see, now we can take it. Black's going to put us in check, only move. And again, we don't take it. We do the same kind of maneuver, go back, give the pawn some room, right? Because we're trying to avoid the stalemate. Black's going to push it. Again, we push. Black's going to have to capture. Now we can take the pawn. And after d4, we can do that little maneuver one more time. King to d2, black has to push. Now we can sacrifice this pawn. And ultimately, we end up with this winning king and pawn endgame. Now, there's sort of one last little trick that black might try, you could say, and that's if they don't push the pawn. So if they push the pawn, we can just simply come here, take it. Black has to move back and forth, and we just win. The only trick that black could try would be to go here. We come up, they go back, and if we come up, and they go here, we have to figure out how to make progress, right? Because, like, for example, if we come over here and black goes back and we take the pawn, that's a stalemate. So we do have to be careful. But the easiest way to win is to just simply get a queen, force the king to capture. And when we capture, the tempo actually works out in our favor to where after black goes here, we're able to push forward. There's no stalemate, and we get the queen and we win. So basically, the idea that you had to see was this, you know, sacrificing the pawn, moving the king not up in front but over, and that's what ultimately leads to the win. So nice puzzle there. Cool little idea. Thank you, Remington, for sending that one in. And let's go ahead and jump over to the next one. All right, so here's the next one. Again, it's white to play and win. White's going forward, black is going this way. Before I say anything, if you'd like to pause and think through how do we win here as white, go ahead and do that. All right, well, if you had a chance to look at that. So first of all, again, we have to be careful for a stalemate. So if you were to say some move like this, trying to just kind of come over here and maybe start taking the pawns, as soon as you play that move, the game is over because black has nowhere to move, right? The pawns can't move, the king is trapped, so you can't play a rook move like that. You also can't just start taking these with your king because, again, because of where our rook's positioned, actually our king as well and the pawn, black can't move, right? The king is still trapped. So you have to be careful in how you approach this. And I've actually seen this idea before, and so I kind of knew what the idea was. But the point is that we are going to try to checkmate black with our pawn eventually. So before I tell you the move, now that you have that kind of big hint, if you'd like to pause and try to figure it out again, if you didn't already solve it, go ahead and do it now. All right, and if you had a chance to do that, the move is rook to g5. And the point is, again, because black can't move the king, they have to take it, which does put us in check, but we can simply take the pawn. Again, the king is trapped. Black has to push forward. And now we can go king to f4, which keeps black trapped, forces them to push their pawn, and we deliver the checkmate with the pawn. So nice little idea here. It's pretty rare that you see this kind of thing, but when you do get these sort of positions, it's nice to finish it off with the pawn. So thank you. I believe this position was sent from Avatar of Wrath. Thank you for that one. And now let's jump to the last position. All right, last position is from Alchemist, and it's white to play. White's going forward, black is going this way. Before I say anything, if you'd like to pause, what do you think the winning move is for white? Go ahead and do that. All right, if you had a chance to look at that, the first thing you have to kind of realize is that all of these pawns are basically stuck, which means what this puzzle comes down to is how do we win over here with these 3 pawns against black's 2 pieces and pawn. And actually, the best move is the simple and kind of obvious move to just take the knight. It's undefended, and we may as well take it, get it out of the way, and start to threaten to do something with our pawns. And now black plays b takes c6, and it starts to get a little tricky. Now, of course, if they don't take that, what else can they do? The king is stuck. They can play bishop here, but then we simply capture with the pawn, checkmate. And the same thing would happen if they play bishop c7, checkmate. So the only way black can keep this game going is by capturing our pawn. And now, at first glance, it's like, okay, we can still play the check, but once we do that, the king is going to escape. Our pawns are blockaded, and it's actually black who's going to be winning now because this pawn is coming, and they're going to eventually get a queen. We can't really do anything. So the move that you needed to see here was a6. And the point, again, if the bishop moves, we have the same idea of b7, checkmate. Right? So black doesn't want to do that. But if they push the pawn, we're going to play the move a7. Now, when I was first analyzing this, I thought to myself, okay, we play a7, black's going to take, and we're going to play b7 checkmate. What I failed to realize was that after we play a7, black actually has the move bishop c7. And so we have to find one more move here. It's not very difficult, but the kind of follow-up is capturing this with the king, allowing this pawn to either capture or go forward. Doesn't really matter. And then we simply play b7 and get the queen. So that's it. That's the checkmate. Of course, it was nice when we were able to checkmate with the pawn, but if black plays correctly, we have to go this route. Either way, nice puzzle, and I hope you guys enjoyed those. Thank you for sending those in. I had fun going through them, and yeah, appreciate that. I've got some more lined up, which will be coming real soon, and so make sure you stay tuned for those. As always, thanks for watching. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.